Good evening, council, staff, those joining us in the council chambers, and those joining us on YouTube. I'd like to call this regular council meeting to order. And we'll begin by asking everyone to join council and staff in a moment of silent reflection, please. Thank you, everyone. As is our policy at TAY, we do a land acknowledgement during Indigenous Week, and we also do it during our inaugural. So as this is Indigenous Week, I'm going to read our land acknowledgement. The Township of TAY recognizes that it is located on the traditional and territorial lands of the Anishinaabeg people, now known as the Chippewa Tri-Council of Bosley First Nation, Georgina Island First Nation, and Rama First Nation. This territory is within the Pre-Confederation Treaty 5 and Treaty 16, and within the Williams Treaties of 1923. Once the traditional territory of the Wendat and the historic homelands of the Métis, TAY Township is proud to be home to a diverse community of many Indigenous peoples. We all share the responsibility to be caretakers and stewards of these lands and waters, and promise to ensure their health and integrity for future generations. That brings us to item 3, approval of the agenda, and if a motion that reads that the council meeting agenda for June 24th, 2026 be approved. Mover and seconder, Councillor Raymond and Councillor Larma. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Disclosure of interest. Does anyone have a declaration at this point? Seeing none, as we move through the agenda, should you recognize an interest, please state the general nature thereof and fill out the required paperwork with our clerk as soon as you are able to following this evening's meeting. That brings us to presentations and delegations, and we have several tonight, but we're going to start with a special presentation on behalf of council and the township. We are very honored to have in attendance tonight Father John O'Brien, director of the Martyrs Shrine, invited tonight so that we may present some commemorative items to recognize this being the 100th anniversary of the Martyrs Shrine. TAY is very proud to have the shrine located within our boundaries. It is indeed a jewel of the township, providing spiritual guidance and support to tens of thousands each year. Father, after the presentation, I'd like to ask you if you could approach the podium and say a few words, and perhaps you could highlight some of the special events you have coming up this Saturday for the 100th anniversary. So with that said, if we could meet you in front of the council table, and we'll make the presentation.
Well, thank you very much for this this beautiful gift and this acknowledgement of the place and the role that Martyrs Shrine has held here in Tay Township for the last 100 years. For the Martyrs Shrine, this is a special year, and I just want to say how grateful I am to be located in Tay, and how grateful I am to this council for its many ways in which it reaches out to support the work of the shrine. I'm very grateful for Mayor Walker and Deputy Mayor Norris for coming to our galas and our many fundraisers and special events, the garden blessings last weekend and so on, as well as to Sean Amer for looking after us from the fire safety point of view, and all the myriad ways in which we interact with the township of Tay. And it is our 100th anniversary, so there are a number of special events that we're putting on to celebrate. I wasn't going to mention this Saturday because it's I know that there's also the Canada Day celebrations and concerts happening this Saturday morning, afternoon, and evening. We're also having concerts at the Shrine Saturday evening. People are welcome to come to those as well. We're having the French-Canadian band Haricot coming and playing for us. And all are welcome, though, to come to the Shrine at any point in the day. Later on in the summer, we're having other concerts, in more classical type of concerts in the Shrine Church, namely August 15th. We're having the Toronto Strings Quartet coming for a live concert, and a book launch of a new book that is profiling Martyrs Shrine, the history, and many, many photographs, black and white photographs from the past, and beautiful color photographs from the present. And so it's a book launch and a concert on August the 15th. And then we're having another concert on August the 21st as well. So kind of 2 weekends back to back. So those are our main events taking place, as well as the Feast Day of the Martyrs, which we celebrate every year in September 26th. So I'd like to present a counter gift, if I may, as well. Not a counter gift, but a parallel. I've got a gift for the township as well. We've minted a commemorative coin, a gold coin that acknowledges the 100 years on the one side, and it features the image of John de Brebeuf and Joseph Chiwetenwa, signifying that first encounter, which was premised upon a lot of hopes and friendships that developed there, and I'd like to think typifies the relationships, the better relationships that we all hold today. On the back, it is a picture of, that picture is the 400-year anniversary. That was 400 years ago, also being acknowledged in 2026, 1626 to 2026. And on the other side of the coin, it's a picture of the shrine, commemorating the 100 years. So on behalf of the Jesuits of Canada and the local Jesuit community, I'd like to present this coin to you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Back up the photo. Yeah. Want to do photo op or photo op? Photo op. Sure. Sure.
It's only once every 100 years.
Put it in the archives.
Yeah.
This is very, very.
Just for you two.
No, you guys go.
So did.
You know the pictures, huh?
I was trying to see the coin.
Father, just with respect to the gala in Vaughan, it was very enjoyable, especially the pictures of the shrine under construction. It was absolutely amazing the way it was constructed. The other thing, you had some commemorative keychains there, and I have one. I have a golf buddy whose mother is 98, and she's been visiting the shrine for many years. She's in Toronto now, so I gave it to him to give to her, and she was absolutely thrilled. So it was very touching for her. So thanks for all you do, both at the shrine and in the community, and we wish you all the best in this 100th anniversary. And thanks so much for attending tonight. You're welcome to stay, but I'm sure you've got other items on your plate for tonight. So thank you very much, and all the best for Saturday. Okay, Council. Our second delegation is Rodney Robinson and Peter Strachan or Strawn? Strawn. Reed Tay Shore Trail snowmobile use. Gentlemen, you're welcome to approach the podium.
Well, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Rod and I are delighted to be here as representatives of the approximately 150 people in our local community who signed the petition, asking the council and the mayor to not repeat the experiment which provided snowmobiles access to the stretch of the Tay Trail between Bass and Caswell. We are not asking because these petitioners are anti-snowmobilers. They're not. In fact, there were several people who signed the petition are snowmobilers. We're asking for other reasons, simple reasons, and the best way, I think, to approach these is to say that part of the presentation today is to thank you. Because Rod and I read on the internet, in between watching, we're avid fans of your YouTube videos, but that Simcoe County had won an award for being a county that has exceptionally good services and treatment of seniors. Mm-hmm. And in the article I read, the people at Simcoe were thanking all of the townships and communities within the county for their part in that. And Rod and I were talking about it, and I said to him, I wonder if anybody ever goes and thanks the council for doing things like that. So because it fits perfectly with what we want to talk to you about, Rod and I, on behalf of the 150 signatories of that, would like to thank the council for making, for us, Tay, a wonderful place to age, as you can see here. We are really seeking, well, the other thing we're not doing is in any way, shape, or form is to blame the council for conducting a test and seeing how the snowmobiles would be received on that stretch of Tay Trail. There are too few governments in the world who don't try anything innovative, and the fact that you tried this, nobody holds it against you. We're simply here to try and make our case as to why you not do it again. So we're thanking you in particular for 6 or 7 years ago, I think it was, Tay began to clear the trail between Bass and Caswell in the winter. And you did a spectacular job. It was, not only was the snow cleared, but you sanded it, and it was a superb place for the people in that neighborhood on both sides of Park to walk in the winter.
Okay. Thanks, thanks very much, Peter and Rodney. With that, council, any questions or comments? Councilor Raymond, please.
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you for the petition. You know, sometimes we need a petition to make us understand how residents feel, because we don't always find out until after the fact. So I've gone through and I had a number of questions, but you just said something that sort of popped up, and it really nullifies my other questions, in that you're not asking for this action to happen right away. You're just asking us not to renew the agreement when the agreement expires. Am I correct?
Yes. We don't know how long your agreement is. Rod's got maybe 10 years to go, so if it's longer than that.
No, I appreciate that.
No, we're not asking you to, we're not
Okay.
asking you to rescind agreements that made by the honor of the council.
Right.
When and if you can, to return it the way it was.
Okay. There's a couple of things I just wanted to run by you. First of all, 4x4 vehicles have never been allowed on the Tay Trail, whether it's winter or summer. The reality is, there are some residents who don't obey anything, and they just go where they want. I know from our talking with our bylaw, they do try and deal with it. I know personally I've engaged the OPP to try and track them down. But rest assured, we're only talking about the only motorized vehicles that are happening on the Tay Trail is this trial period with snowmobiles.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure, because it was it wasn't really clear when it was going through this whether, you know, we agreed on that. And the only other point, if your worship, if I may.
Sure.
So I went through the Trans-Canada Trail cores and vision and core principles, and they specifically indicate that the trail was gifted as a multi-use recreational trail, and it goes from coast to coast. And then they say, in the summer, non-motorized. So the walking, you know, all the traditional forms of exercise, and it was to, you know, get people out and doing things, which is a great idea. They do, however, recognize in the winter that, so non-motorized use in the summer, which we already, you know, do. And then in the winter, cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, and snowmobiling in some trail sections in winter. So I went and researched other municipalities that allow it. And there is a healthy discourse on why they're actually doing it. And as an aside, I will tell you, from my perspective, I've seen letters come across from trail users in the winter that have found that the snowmobile users are very respectful And some of them have actually engaged with the other people using the trail, which is ultimately, I think, what we were all trying to accomplish. Okay? So, I'm not gonna render any opinions on this. I'm hoping myself that this comes back in a report or something, but, for the time being, I just wanted to stress those points, you know, on the true intended use as far as the trail, Trans-Canada Trail was, when it was created, and how long ago it was created. There was never any formal designation to Tay Township. It was just gifted as it was right across Canada. Okay, thank you, that was my point. Thank you, Your
Yeah,
Worship.
just, I'll speak very, if you, I may, speak very quickly to that.
Go ahead, sure.
We know that, I mean, that people who are not authorized under any circumstances to do, like 4x4 vehicles on the trail will sometimes just go ahead and do it. In fact, Rod mentioned to the mayor the last time we met, not all that long ago, we saw motorcycles on it. I'm not talking little e-bikes, but
Yep.
fairly serious motorcycles. And there's always people that, that break the law. But what we did notice, we were aware that there's a 20-kilometer-an-hour speed limit for the snowmobiles, but the experience of ourselves and the petitioners is that virtually none of them obeyed that restriction. We saw ourselves snowmobiles doing the kind of speeds you'd expect a car to do on Highway 12. I saw one snowmobile try to jump our street, Davis Drive, not one mount the other.
Right.
And if you take a snowmobile and you bring its speed up, they are unbelievably loud. One at 20 kilometers an hour is no problem at all. So there's the hope that the way people will behave and the reality of the way people have behaved and what it does to the people on the trail. We have people on the petition that are avid cross-country skiers that stopped using that stretch of the trail because the snowmobiles were cutting all their cross-country ski grooves up, and also the groomer, when it went through, also cut up all the trails that they'd made. So the reality was not what it would have hoped to have been. And that's the principal reason that we're here.
I have a follow-up, Your Worship, if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. In regards to the speed, the trail, as part of the trail use agreement, includes the involvement of the OPP because it's a sanctioned trail. The OPP are supposed to be monitoring it, they are using it, and anybody who's speeding beyond or creating any kind of mischief like that, they're supposed to be dealing with it, okay? My first question is just, have you thought of reaching out to the Snowmobile Club directly with your concerns on the abuse from the snowmobilers, and we're talking a specific winter, to see if you can engage their assistance? They're the ones that are marshaling and taking care of the trail in the winter. And the OPP, when we have speeding problems throughout Tate Township, we always try and engage them to pick an area and start concentrating on it, just so at least that they can maybe help calm it down to something realistic. So I'm just asking if you've thought about reaching out that way as well.
Well, part of the problem also is that the groomer goes over the trail to make it semi-flat. The problem is it only goes over the trail every 10 days. And that doesn't enable the trail to be flat. So what happens is the snow machines get in there and they make their own ruts and everything else. And when people try and walk, they twist an ankle. We have had people call us and tell us this, that it's just not, it's not conducive to have people walk on the trail when you got the snow machines on top of that we have to walk, and we have to be careful how we're walking. But on a solid surface, we can walk fine.
Right.
There is another section, I'm just going to change for a second, there's another section in Wabashing that is plowed and sanded because they're with the houses, but we're with the houses. The trail goes right through Victoria Harbor. And it goes through Wabashing. And all we asked for was that section that we were given 5 years ago on a petition, that we just wanted to go back. We've had people over here, not here, but in George's Walk, older people. One gentleman was 94 years old, and he was walking that trail winter and summer. But last year, he couldn't do it, and he signed the petition only because he had no place to go. The other part of it was that people who walk their dogs, which is here or there, but they drive from here to Tiny to walk their dogs. That's not conducive for anybody to use the trail, not if we have to go someplace else.
So to just speak to the point that you made, Counselor, we did contact the OPP once, just once, and OPP did have a car parked right at Davis where the trail crosses. And I did see the OPP flag down a single snowmobile. So it's not that the OPP didn't show up there, and they may have been there other times.
Right.
I don't know. But it didn't seem to be having any effect, and short of the OPP blanketing the place, I don't see how it could. Neither one of us ever contacted the
Georgian Bay Snow Riders.
snowmobile club. We didn't do that. Perhaps we should have done. But I know that the chap lives across the road, Dan, he and his father are snowmobilers. There's other people around us, including ones that have signed the petition. And they said, you know, the problem is that you do something like this and it's, quote, ruined by irresponsible members. And of course, they all wear helmets and fabulous suits. So you can't tell whether it's a 19-year-old or a 59-year-old or who it is on it. So it's not like you can point fingers and say it was that guy.
Right.
So I don't think, unless you blanket it with law, I don't think you're gonna, because these are in the main, they're young people. These are extremely powerful machines that they don't pay, I don't know how much money they pay to go 20 kilometers on. Oh, one of the other issues we had, which I didn't mention, was they were going along the two sections, cutting down Davis and cutting through lots to get to the lake, which they shouldn't have been doing. And so that's another thing that we'd never seen that happen before.
Right.
So, and as Rod says, this stretch of the trail happens to go right through a group of residences. The other thing I did, I called Simcoe and I asked them, how many kilometers of snowmobile trails have you got in the county? Very nice lady called me back and said, well, we're not exactly sure, but we have, quote, hundreds of kilometers. All we're asking for is 1 kilometer to be taken out of that.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. You know, my only Georgia Bay Snow Riders as well, and talk to them just to see, maybe it won't help. I can't tell you whether it'll help or not, but I think it would be worth at least talking. I believe in trying to work things out between groups, so.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned about the 4x4s.
Sorry, Your Worship.
You mentioned about the 4x4s. There was a sign posted at the other side of Caswell Beach on, going towards this area, with, quote, people, snowmobiles, 4x4s, and this was right there, and I know the sign's gone now, but it was there, I took pictures of it.
Yeah, the mayor, we told the mayor about it, and they had it taken down, but some clever guy put up a sign, looked just like municipal sign, and you could see there was a four-wheel on it. So people, they give them an inch and they
And it
take a
said multi-use
4x4.
trail. And it said
Well-
multi-use trail.
All right, thank you, Your Worship. My apologies for
No problem.
Going a little
No
further.
problem. Thank you, Councillor Raymond. Any other Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Your Worship. Thanks for the presentation, and I think we could debate this all night and everything else. I do know it's an Ontario Federation Snowmobile Club sanctioned trail. So I think the people you're referring to are not members. So,
You may be right.
so in essence, what ends up happening, they're on the trail illegally, there's fine, in all likelihood, they don't have insurance and everything else. But there was a couple of irregularities on, with some of the petitions. So I did ask Andrea earlier if she could clarify some of those particular points. Our GM's not with us, so I'm not too sure if Andre, you got some of those notes just to clarify?
Go ahead, CAO.
Thank you. I think some of the items have been spoken to already, as far as clarifying the reference to the 4x4 vehicles, and also the fact that the stretch of trail is being used for a one-year trial, as we had referenced in the report. It's from Triple Bay Road to Duffy Drive is the location of that. There was also reference, it talked kind of about the unlimited use of the trail, and I just wanted to reference the fact that there was a speed limit, which you did mention as well. And then there is some reference to, I know, the petition itself in relation to our procedural bylaw, and what qualifies for a valid name to be shown on a petition to be accepted. But that can be referenced as well in a future report. So our GM of Operational Services will be preparing a report based on the fact that it was a one-year trial to bring forward a recommendation to council for their consideration. So we anticipate that that report will be coming forward in July at the council meeting as well. So if there are any additional questions, or I'm sure I've missed some things that the GM will identify in there as well.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor, anything
Just
further?
one quick supplementary, and that's where it goes back to when we originally did get the trail. The Snowmobile Club actually ran the CN line until they did get the old CP. So that's all I have, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bumstead and then Chappelle.
Thank you, through the chair. So living within close proximity to the trail, did you notice any peak times? Was it less traffic on the weekends or more on the weekends, less through the week? Did you notice any type of pattern as far as the use?
The vast bulk of the traffic was on the weekends. No, there wasn't, I must tell you that there wasn't that much traffic. It wasn't like we were going like this. But the majority of them, you'd see groups of them out nice days on a Saturday or a Sunday, and then during the week, probably no surprise, everybody's at work. It was relatively quiet.
Okay, thank you.
But some of them were, we have a number of people who live literally right beside the trail. Some were using it for nighttime, 1, 2 in the morning. Not many of them, admittedly, but there were nighttime, well, they'd have lights on and so forth, but we heard that from one of the people who signed the petition.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Chappelle, please.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship, to the chair. You kind of touched on the question I was going to speak to in regards to use. And the intent of this council back when we talked about was diversity, multi-use, we're talking about walking and everything. My question, and you kind of touched to it, is prior to machine use, you did walk, the trail was clean to the asphalt. And I guess my question, since the implementation of this undertaking, the one-year thing, and you touched on it, the experience of walking on it would be difficult. And I think that's the best approach for me. Because the idea for us as a council was to create this choice of seeing if it's going to work or whatnot. But if the intent overlaps the previous years where you could walk on it, I just don't know where this council, I know what my feelings are on it. But I think that's the argument you have to put forward, is that it has it stopped you from utilizing it the way it was when it was being cleaned to the surface.
That's correct.
I did go down a couple of times, and you're right, when the groomer goes by, it's not, you have this choppiness, so it is difficult, and some of us are younger up here than
Yeah.
whatever, but we are that age too. And I think that's the argument I would put forward, is that it's not creating what you used to do before. So we got this diversity where we have this combination of machine and walk-in? And I guess my answer, from what I heard, is no. And
Yeah, I
that's
mean, you
my
might do
position.
if we were all younger. I mean, kids can walk up, and that's no problem. It's just the
Well,
constituency is older.
Through the chair, I think what happens is it has changed the use from when it was done previously, so.
Yeah.
And I think that's, so for me, I mean, that's what I would look at for me. If it's not the intent to create that back again, it does suggest that you don't have the ability to what it used to be. And I can understand that, because then you walk that much snow, when it gets soft, it's difficult, so. That's all I have to say, but that's the question that you should push. Thank you.
Can I just add one more thing? The majority of people who live in Victoria Harbor are elderly. They're not the young ones.
Are you applying it to Maritime? You're pretty old up there.
You should be looking at the mirror when you say that.
Sorry.
Sometimes the truth hurts though, doesn't it?
Yes, but it's a good point taken, though. We are up there.
Okay, sure. Councillor Larmont, please.
Thank you, through the chair. I just wanted to mention, you had said that the snowmobiles weren't allowed in the Wabasheen stretch because there were a lot of houses there, but really the reason they're not allowed there is because they get off, they're only allowed to go as far as Duffy and then go up Rosemount and catch the
Correct.
snowmobile trail.
Correct.
So I just wanted to clarify that.
Oh, no, I knew that.
Okay.
I think we both knew that, but it's still, there is a section that is cleared, and all we wanted to do was put that section over here. And we did it for 5 years. Or, sorry, you did it for 5 years.
Okay, thank you both for attending and sharing your concerns with us and for filing the petition with us. As was mentioned, we are going to be giving consideration and making a decision in the fall, likely before the one-year period is up, so that whether it continue or it will cease after the 1 year. But we are receiving information on it from both pro and con, so we thank you for taking the time to join us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you.
Council, next we have Mr. John Podolak. I hope I'm saying that right. Tanner's Beach Productions, Inc. Read the Gidley Project commemorating Métis maritime heritage in Tay Township.
Oh, good.
John, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, staff. Thank you very much. My name is John Podolak. I'm the executive producer of Tanner's Beach Productions. I'm here today to present an exciting zero-cost national broadcast partnership opportunity that celebrates the rich maritime heritage of Tay Township while requesting a minor practical piece of in-kind operational support from Public Works to ensure safe, professional production. The upcoming documentary series is called The Gidley Project, and it focuses on the preservation of a dying art. Historic wooden boat restoration, and the heart and soul of this documentary is wraps around a Métis elder by the name of Basil Lafreniere, and he is a master shipwright and a Métis elder. Through this established broadcast network, including PBS, and the Sportsman Channel Canada. The project has been supported by APTN, Georgian Bay Métis Council, the Métis Nation of Ontario, and we are now in front of the Indigenous Screen Office of the Canada Media Fund. Closer, okay. And so this project will feature the landscapes of Tay Township, and will include, probably will reach about 600,000 households when it's broadcast in North America. And before we get into the specifics, just to get an idea of the caliber of the craftsmanship of the production, is a little clip of Basil as he's sort of introducing himself and talking a little bit about what he's doing.
My name is Basil Lafreniere, and I'm president of the Georgian Bay Heritage League Wooden Boats. We restore all the boats that were built in Georgian Bay. That's what our mandate is to find Georgian Bay boats and bring them back to the original condition. We have a Gidley boat, a 1908 Gidley in our shop that was built in Penetang. And then in the early 1900s, Grew was in Lake Simcoe, and then they bought out Gidley. Well, back then, being a Métis or any part of First Nations, no one told us that we were Métis back then. We were francophones. We spoke French. We went to French school, but nobody would want to say that, oh, you have native blood. Then you were put down here. Saturdays, I started a Métis 10-year-old kids coming into because a lot of these Métis kids, their descendants worked at the boat companies in Penetang. The Gidley Boat Company, the Grew Boat Company, the Norris Boat, the Midland Boat Company. So I was looking for Métis descendants that their grandparents or great-grandparents worked there to come in and keep the line of boat builders and boat restorers going with the new young generation. All right, you ready, sir? Yeah, you can start anywhere. Start here, go forward, and start here, go backwards. To see the kids continue on something that their grandparents or whatever years ago worked on wooden boats. So now it stopped a couple of generations, and it started now with 10-year-old kids from that line of Métis citizens, which is kind of neat.
This little clip of the show that we've started working on, and a long story into how I found out about Basil and his work, but as I uncover more and more about what he's doing in restoring this Gidley boat and the connection he has with the Métis community, he started to tell me, well, where did this wood come from? And I said, yeah, where did it come from? But as a kid, I don't know, how do we move over to the next slide? Okay, all right. And so as I was finding out more and more about the work he's doing to restore this boat, which is over 100 years old, and the dying art that was, used to make this boat, he found out that a lot of this wood came from the Tanner Mill on Sturgeon Bay. And so that is quite interesting because I grew up there. Well, not really grew up there. My grandfather, you can see the picture of what was the bunkhouse at the Tanner Mill. The Tanner House is still there on Tanner's Road, and the building next to it that was my family cottage for 30, 40 years. And that's kind of, I spent every summer up there. And I didn't know the history of the Tanner brothers and the Tanner Mill. Well, of course, when I was there, I heard all about it. I even met Old Man Tanner when I was about 10 years old. And so now this project I'm working on with the Gidley ties that in. And I think it's a great story to tell as part of what Basil is doing to restore this boat. So it's kind of a personal connection to the story, and I kind of find it's kind of freaks me out a little because it's all come to be. How, I don't know. My production company is called Tanner's Beach Productions because of my parents' cottage. And we swam in Sturgeon Bay, and I remember years and years watching all the sawdust wash ashore and the driftwood. We had great bonfires with all the driftwood that came from the Tanner's Mill. And I remember seeing even the wooden pylons still sticking out of the water. Anyways, I digress. So that's my connection to the Gidley story. And I found out about Basil because I was producing a show for PBS called Vintage Vessels, all about historic wooden boats, the restoration of wooden boats. Found out about Basil, and then he's just like an onion, just unraveled. And then he's working on the Gidley. Oh, tell me about the Gidley. Well, it was in Penetanguishene. Well, who worked on these boats? Métis. And then he said, well, I'm Métis. And then he said, the wood would have come from a mill like Tanner's, and then who worked the mill at Tanner's? Métis. So it's all all connecting. So part of the reason I was here for, I had originally had asked for a possible grant for the production. The town of Midland is going to be asked for participation of providing the MCC for our launch when the project is done. The town of Penetanguishene is on board with in-kind contribution of about $5,000, providing docking when we're got the boat completed in the fall. And so I came to Tay Township and asked, what's the possibility of a grant for the production? And 2026 budget, I guess, is spent for the grant. And I've come up with an alternative, and that's why I'm here. This picture is 46 Tanner's Road, which I now own. My mother originally purchased the property on the request of my grandfather, who used the cottage, the old bunkhouse. So he wanted to have a winter access into the cottage. So he asked my mother to purchase this property, 46 Sanders Road, and it sits as a woodlot. And so I'm just asking if it would be possible as an in-kind contribution to possibly prevent us from parking on Tanner's Road to shoot content for the production, namely the locations of the old Tanner House, Tay Trail, and some of the woods, and shoot some content off of the public beach on Sturgeon Bay. To prevent the cars from being in the way, an alternative would be to provide a culvert so that we can park on my property on 46 Tanners Road, which would be a no-cost kind of proposition. Oops. And so that would be the request, if that would be something that council would consider. It would provide Tay Township with a considerable amount of marketing via the project. As it reaches, it's going to be aired on PBS, and right now my shows on PBS have a large footprint. And it also reaches into Canada because of the border stations. And the show, when it's completed, is already going to be on Sportsman Channel Canada. And I'm in talks with APTN to do a feature documentary, which they will also broadcast. I have also had chats with CBC. So my idea is to include a segment dedicated to the wood that was milled from the Tanner's operation to feed the boat builders of the era. And when I do that, of course, I'd feature scenics of Tay Township and Tay Trail and Tanner's Road, and do a little bit of a history segment on the region. And that, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thanks very much. Very interesting. The maritime history and the lumber industry in Tay Township and the boat building. I don't know if you're aware, but a more recent wooden boat construction in Tay was in Port Nickel in the slip, and it was Gordon Lightfoot's Golden Goose that was built there. And it was a beautiful boat as well.
Yeah.
Okay, council, questions or comments? Councillor LaChapelle.
Yeah, through the chair to you. I don't know if you're interested in these old boats for back then, but there is one in Victoria Harbor, 1924. I was looking at it the other day. I didn't realize that this is what's what. I don't know if that's an interest, but it was built and it sits in a boathouse on Rovers Point. But it's 1924 and it was built by a local person. I don't know if it has ties to what you're talking about, but it's there.
Well, I mean, I have, as I mentioned, I do another show called Vintage Vessels, which has 2 seasons on PBS. You can just Google Vintage Vessels on PBS. But, so it's a two-prong thing. Not only am I doing the Gidley project on the Gidley Boat Company, but I'd welcome doing other content for Vintage Vessels, which is an ongoing series as well. So, yeah. Send me the information, and I certainly...
I will after, I'll get that part, but I think what you're doing and trying to do, I find that interesting because the history is important, and if there's an opportunity to kind of promote Tay, I kudos what you're doing, and wish you success, and if we can help, then I guess the mayor will give direction to the staff to see where we go, but at the end of the day, I do like the idea.
Thank you.
Councillor Talbot.
Thank you, through the chair. Just wondering, when are you needing this culvert and stuff from the township?
We've already started production. I'm shooting Basil at his shop, so sooner than later.
Okay.
if
I
that's
just thought
possible.
that's kind of important that we
Thank you.
know. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. We will certainly give consideration to your request as soon as we're able to. We'll look to staff to give us some costing estimates and time and availability and so on. Councillor LaChapelle mentioned another boat in the area, and just down on Park Street, that's now a house with a big garage, used to be where Bob Brissette built his boats. The one in Port was built by Carpenter. I forget his first name. Vic Carpenter and Willie King who built the Golden Goose. So,
All right,
so
good.
thanks so much for taking the time to visit us tonight.
Why, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Council, next Tony, I will murder your last name. I'm going to take a stab at it, though. See how close I come. Tony DeGuglielmo? Oh, almost. Close. Welcome, Tony. Elizabeth will get you set up, and then we'll turn it over to you.
Hello. Thank you for having me today. I'm here to talk about linking Port-Nickel to the Lynx bus route. I believe everybody got a proposal I sent out. We're just looking to give access to the residents of Port-Nickel to get them to join the service by the county. There's a couple of different ways it can be done. A couple of councillors have reached out, thank you. Deputy Mayor Norris have reached out today. I did reach out to the project manager for the Simcoe County, for the county, and they are going to get back to me, they said. So we'll talk about feeder lines, I guess how they call it, to come in from there. So if you have any questions on the service, be happy to answer.
Okay. As you know, Tony, just on a little bit of background, and I think that's why you're here tonight, we do have a gap in
Yes.
Port-Nickel that we have been trying for some time to get included on the link stop, but we've been unsuccessful for various reasons. But with that, I'm going to ask council if they have any questions at this point. Councillor Lamont, please.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I'm just curious, I'm sorry I didn't get to you about this. So what is it, will this be a cost to Tay Township?
As it stands right now, yes.
Okay.
Yes, so there is a grant through the county of Simcoe. I don't know what that entails yet. I will hopefully find that out within the coming weeks, actually, once I talk to them about it. The cost, so I was thinking if we pick up in the town of Port-Nickel and we pick a location central to the town itself, I'm thinking either at the top of the Talbot Street or down by the post office. Was kind of what I was thinking, and then take them either to the town of Victoria Harbor, I think it's on Richmond Street, or into Midland at the Georgian College, and then kind of pick up the Lynx bus from there. I don't believe we would need it for 12-hour a day, because I think they do 16 runs. So I think they do 13 trips a day. So I don't think we need to do 13 trips out of there, but no. I don't know what the need would be, right? There is a need. I know there is a few people that we pick up with taxi service and bring them to Georgian College so they can meet up with the Link bus. But that's a couple of times a month. So there has been talk about it, and that's why I kind of came up with this idea and see if it's something that can work.
Okay. Councillor Chappelle, please.
Yeah, through the chair, Tony, when you mentioned grant, is there a conversation to Deputy Mayor Mayor at the county level about the availability of this grant? I mean, what's available would impact our ability to inquire something like this? Like, has there any been discussion about a grant system?
No, not with me directly, but I think it's, as Tony mentioned, it's something he's started discussions with today, and I think Deputy Mayor Norris had talked to one of the county reps yesterday. So I think what we'd be looking for, Tony, is once you've determined that, a more detailed price presentation, both if you get the grant and if you don't.
Okay.
And then we could
That's what I was going to suggest.
look at it that way.
I think that information is important because, I mean, dollars and cents always seems to talk to everybody. So And that's what I was gonna ask, if there's an opportunity that we have them numbers that our representatives can go make a pitch for it. And maybe we can fill this gap that's in there, but I think you need numbers first. So,
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, if we did go with this, as an initial trial period, maybe, even 3 times, like morning, lunchtime, and after work, because we also have, if you go up Triple Bay Road, on your left-hand side, about 2 kilometers down is, Cherry Blossom Village. And they employ close to 200 people. I know he has directly approached the county, about, getting a stop, so,
Of coming in, okay. Yeah, no, that's, the cost will all depend on, the usage, obviously, right? So I mean,
Sure.
the more we use it, the more, it kind of will probably work a little backwards. The less you use it, will probably be a little bit more expensive.
Yeah.
The more we, the more
Yeah.
stops we do, the longer we have it, can actually, decrease, the hourly rate.
sure.
As we say. So I haven't come up with any prices. I have some ideas, but until I get a sense of what council kind of is looking for or would kind of want, or maybe, like you mentioned, 3 times a day, that's a starting point. We can definitely look at that.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 times that, because the bus is coming from Midland and then it's coming from
Yeah, we'd have to
Orillia as well.
coordinate, yeah.
Correct. So it reaches Victoria Harbor, I guess, quarter after the hour, and then back the other
Right.
way a quarter to the hour.
So that you're able to get there in time.
Yes, exactly.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, and that's something we would have to work on from our end to give you a better idea on how to price it and so on.
Yeah, it's just, yes, and the vehicles involved. I mean, at the beginning, it would, I'm thinking just a minivan style vehicle. Either a Dodge or a Toyota.
Yeah.
Something comfortable, something reliable, to kind of go up and down.
Yeah,
Wheelchair accessible. We do have a wheelchair van.
Okay.
That we can definitely use. So it's not on I guess right now it's just a bus stop. So people meet at the bus stop and the bus stops picks them up and kind of goes. So we can kind of maybe even change that to an on-call basis. Something I was kind of thinking about that we kind of, get a feel of ramping up and kind of start small, ramp up to something bigger.
right. Okay. So we've got some thought to give to it, so as I mentioned, if you hear anything from the county in the meantime, let us know.
Absolutely.
And we'll do the same, and we appreciate you taking the time to give us a proposal and answering our questions tonight.
Perfect.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, council, that brings us to our consent list. Is there anything on there that anyone wants pulled? Not seeing anything. Motion that reads that the consent list for June 24th, 2026, and the recommendations contained herein be adopted as resolutions of council. Mover and seconder, Councillor Talbot and Councillor Bumstead. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, item 7, staff reports and other business. The first one is one that we've been thinking about for some time, and that is the township logo redevelopment. The purpose that we went this route, as council will recall, is we wanted something simpler, easier to reproduce for clothing and vehicles and so on, because the existing logo is very detailed and it does get costly, and something easily recognizable. So tonight, we have some choices to make of those 4 that have been shortlisted by our SLT. We don't have to accept any one of the 4. We can, if you like one, but something's a little bit off, and you'd like to say, well, we should do this with it, that's fine too. And then we can get that sent off and prettied up the way we want it. So council, I think what we'll do, if Elizabeth can, is we'll put them up on the screen. And then after, we'll have a little discussion and see if we're able to come up with a consensus as to where we go. And I should mention as well that when you see them, staff have also, as you see, SLT suggested edits. So they've already had a look at some of these and said, let's do this to make it better. So this one's logo 1, so maybe we'll just look at it for a minute and then we'll go through the 4 and then come back and I'll take comments. Everyone good look at that? Okay. There's 2. Elizabeth, just on that one, the one with the circle, was that?
Yes, so this is different varieties of how the logo could look. The black and white version with Tate Township in it obviously is there. And then the circle or no circle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody good? 3. You'll note that on a couple of these, it says, please note this submission did not meet all of the requirements as outlined within the contest rules and evaluation framework. There could be various reasons for that, but that doesn't necessarily exclude us from considering it or a version thereof. And number 4.
So again, it would be the top one, and then the description of what those little boxes means is below.
Right. Okay. Anyone willing to? Okay.
If we can go to, through the chair, to Elizabeth?
Pardon me?
3?
Sorry?
You want to look at number 3?
No, I'm just saying, who wants to?
Oh.
You start.
Okay. Well, that's what I said, like, oh, this is number... Oh,
That's number 1.
Okay, I have 2 kind of likes, number 1 and 3, but if we talk about number 1, do we want to just, my thoughts on it, Ted?
Go ahead.
So when I look at this, I do like the layout, it's simple, but the only thing is, we had the discussion is the grain, and we did, I have a problem with that part of it. And I think what I find missing from 1 and 3, but my choice after, I'll tell you, is that we heard a guy again about our history is wood and background. We don't seem to touch on it there. If that's supposed to be a grain, we thought it was, Ted's family thought it was a feather, I kind of agree with him. If that was a tree, then I find that acceptable because it does, the water and our history, it's always been wood and whatnot. So I do like that layout, it's simple, it's reasonable. And then we go to number 3. I like what the staff, I like this one also because of the theme, but I like what staff has said about flipping Tate Township to the top where the trees are. And then it just simplifies it. They're my 2 choices. And I said, I like the color scheme, simple, easy, so.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Talbot, please.
Thank you, through the chair. I like number 2. I like number 2. It's got a nice flow to it. It incorporates, I like the colors. I just find it really smooth looking. And and inviting is the other one. Anyway, that's my,
Okay. Thank you.
looks like a painting.
Councillor Bumstead.
I like number 1. However, I have a little issue with the wheat cutting off the Y, but I think we really need to incorporate our agricultural community into our logo. We've got the water, we've got the wheat, but I just don't like the way the Y is cut off with the stem. Number 2 and 3, when I look at those, I immediately think of Muskoka with the pine trees and the water. I don't see any relevance to Tay in either of those, really, other than the water. So my preference would be number 1. I find number 4 a bit busy, bit too complicated. It's a nice design, however, as I said, I'm partial to 1 because 2 and 3, definitely Muskoka, Halliburton, that's what I see when I look at those.
Good, thank you. Councillor Raymond, please.
Thank you, through the chair. Yeah, you know what, they're all nice logos, and if you think of different aspects of what you think Tay represents, you're gonna like all 4 of them, because I think one way or another, they sort of did hit different concepts of what Tay is all about. I'm a bit of a history buff, and heritage type scenarios. And although it is a bit busy, my preference is logo 4 because visually it portrays, first impression, some of our history and heritage. Now, 2 and 3, I agree. My opinion, yeah, they look too much like some other locations, Number 1, I think the concept is sound. Maybe, like Councillor LaChapelle said, we've had boats, we've had, there's other things that we're famous for in Tay Township, and it doesn't really show it all. And maybe with some extra work, maybe logo 4 could, make it a bit less busy, but for me, it provides visually what Tay Township's all about in our heritage and our history. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Raymond. Councillor Larmont, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I agree on actually 1M4. I like 1 with, like the others, I don't like the way that the wheat is. And I think there's too much black in it. Like I just, the only color in it is just the water and the wheat. And number 4, I like for the same reasons that Councillor Raymond said, but I do find it a little bit busy because, part of the reason we're looking is for something that's easier to put on things, and that one is pretty complicated.
Thank you, Councillor Larmont. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll go with logo 3 with some changes. I agree with what staff's saying and increase the size of the trees. I'm going to go back into history. This area was all covered in those types of trees, so to me that would be symbolic of the lumber industry. I would change the, on the left side, the blue strip. I would change that back to green, leave the hill green. That would be representative of our agricultural community. The center piece that's green now, I would take it back to being blue to be symbolic of the water. And the other I'd definitely add is the sun, because Georgian Bay is noted for its sunsets. So that's what I'm just not too sure of the Tay Township. I don't know if something can be magically done there. I'm not sure. But that's my comment.
Thank you. My preference is 1, with some changes. The thing sticking out of the Y is supposed to be a sheaf of wheat to recognize agricultural. I don't know if there's something that we could do there. I think the problem is that we keep talking about adding this, and the whole reason we're doing this is because the existing one was too complicated. Number 4 to me is exactly that. It's I would prefer what we have now over it. If you look at it on the wall back there, it does have those things, but that's one of the reasons we've gone the way we have. I have a suggestion to make. If we could send one, and what was the next popular, 2 or 3? 3?
Sorry.
Yeah.
1 and 3. 1
Yeah.
and 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
To me, that screams Muskoka as well. But, well, 2, yeah. I think that's a little bit, okay, anyway. You've got the tree, you got the sunshine, you got the water. Like was said, you keep one for the wheat. Anyway, what I was going to say is we take 2 of them, one and one of the others. Staff have heard what we've got to say, and let staff do some tinkering with them and bring them back. Is that possible, Elizabeth?
So, it would go to a professional graphic designer. I did receive a quote for a graphic designer to bring back 1 to them. However, I could ask for 2 and bring for both of them with specific direction of how we want those changed, to come back to July council to then decide on those. Again, keep in mind that any revisions after those would come at additional cost.
So you're saying that, so staff would take 2 of them and do some...
we would send those 2 to
Oh, I
a
see.
professional graphic designer. Yeah,
Okay,
just because that's the skill set we're looking for.
yeah. Councillor LaChapelle?
Can I go back to number 1, please, Elizabeth? So, we talk about the agriculture component and that wheat thing. So, where it says is established 1994, see them 2 straight lines in it? Why wouldn't we put the wheat going each direction, one way and one the other way? So the wheat remains, then you get rid of that out of the Y. So instead of having them straight lines, why can't you make them lines the wheat?
And what are you going to do about your tree?
Well, that's what I'm just wondering but at least you get the Y. I'm like everybody. I just find that kind of funny, that wheat on the Y. But if you put on the sides, it's wheat's there. So how do you get a tree in that? I like Barrie though. The sunset is how do you, like, this is what the problem is. We're starting to make it complicated again. So
Yeah.
do we just make that Y? I don't know how you make a sunshine out of that Y on that side. But
Yeah,
it's
the
tough.
sunshine, I think the sunshine...
is, yeah, it's tough.
I
It's
don't
tough.
think we've got a capture on the sun. I think it's pretty common all over
Yes,
the world.
Yes, there's truth to that. So how do we put a
Right.
tree on that? Why?
That was in their original logo, I believe.
Whose?
Victoria Harbor's.
No,
well,
no.
tell you, we grew up.
That's
with
a
Sunset, but
sawmill.
That's, yeah,
Victoria Harbor's known for the sunsets.
No,
Yeah.
it was a sawmill.
yeah.
No, sunsets.
Pardon me?
Beautiful sunset. I still got the picture.
Famous for its...
Sunsets.
Oh, yeah, that's just the people that live down on the point that say that.
So that's all I'm suggesting, if them 2 lines become the wheat, and then the Y goes in, like, so, we talk about 2, Ted, I agree with it. How do you do number 3? But go ahead, Barry.
Well, no, I just got a, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I'm jumping in. Well, you were leaning back. Elizabeth, instead of going to the graphic designer, do we have any talent we could do, staff could do some magic and come back for July? I don't know if there's a time element here. I don't think there is.
Yes, we're on a pretty strict timeline to get this out for the proposed release in late September, October. I honestly think we should go with a professional designer for this,
Okay.
to tweak what you require. We just don't have the skill set in-house to do it in a professional manner. That would be my suggestion. I'm more than happy to request that we take 2 back to the graphic designer and they take the suggestions that we'll get very detailed on about what we want changed and see what they come back with.
Council? Go ahead, Councillor Bumstead.
I'm wondering, is it really necessary to have the established 1994 in there? Is that a necessity on a logo?
Nope. And that was one of the suggestions from SLT, was to possibly remove the established 1994.
Because looking at that logo, if you remove that, take the wheat out of the T, the Y, and possibly just have a nice little weedy thing at the bottom.
That's what I say, put on the bottom. on the
Yeah,
township.
because we're looking for simplicity, and to me, this is number one, you know, KISS, keep it simple. This one falls right into that category. And just my personal taste on 2 and 3 was Muskoka, Muskoka, Muskoka. That's all I see when I see that. That's all, thank you.
So if you took the T and put the bar going straight down as a tree, would that be too? Or would it even look like a T then? Anyway, so let's have a decision on which 2 we're going to send.
One.
Do you want to do the question now, or? Okay.
I'll go with one.
1
One,
and 3?
I vote 1.
Yeah, I go 1.
One.
So we're good with 1, and then what about between 2 and 3?
3. You want 3?
I like 3.
And,
But I guess I don't want to go.
didn't like them as good.
Okay, so we're good with 1 and 3?
Okay, so I'm just gonna reiterate back something so we can be very clear of what we're asking to be changed.
Certainly.
So on 1, we're going to ask if, to see what it looks like with the established 1994 removed,
Yes.
and then possibly some sort of wheat graphic at the bottom for the lines.
Mm-hmm.
We also want to possibly see if there could be a tree incorporated into the word "tay,"
Tree or wood,
tree or wood.
right? Because they may have a, not whole.
Okay. And then do we like how the color is black, or would we want to see a different color there, or is that fine? The standard procedure is always to have an option for a black and a white logo, but a color version is also a possibility.
It always depends on the background, doesn't it?
And we're going to get the sheaf of wheat removed too, right,
Yes.
Sarah? Ann?
Yes. Yes. The wheat is going out of the Y. So it's going to say "tay," and we're possibly going to try to incorporate a tree into it, but we don't like how, we want the Y solid. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
Yeah.
So the tree will go somewhere else if possible.
Yes, sorry. Go ahead.
This might be too much. What if you made the letters, the T, A, and Y, like leave the water at the top of the T, but make the letters look like trunks?
Yeah, even if we could make the T look like a trunk,
Okay.
There you go, Elizabeth.
or the bottom, the up and down look like a trunk. Anyway, they'll probably come back and say, you guys crazy?
How about a wooden leg, Ted?
Crutch.
Leave it to the people that know what
Yeah, I think that's the best.
A crutch.
Okay.
Asian population.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Okay, I'm losing control here. Councillor Raymond, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. So we've agreed on which 2 we're going, and we'll let the graphic designer explain to us the reason why they're going to do it their way, and we're going
Yeah.
to learn from that, I think.
You just
Mine is more of a serious note. I just, the implementation timelines and costs, I know that there's a budget attached to this. One of the current concerns I have is that we're gonna go too fast to implement, assuming we pick a logo, because we haven't picked one yet. Excuse me. So, my perception is that, the implementation will happen over time, and we'll have, an expiry date on that, because sooner or later, whatever is carrying the old logo, I question, if it's a form or something, if we even need that form, if we don't have it, running out as you wish. So I was just curious, as far as that's concerned, are we still gonna make sure that we don't rush too fast into a change if we change our logo? Please.
Thank you for that question. Yes, so as the reports have come along about this project, we've been very clear that this implementation for this part of our logo rebrand will be strictly within a very small budget, meaning that we're not going to be able to implement it on physical things like trucks, signage, and things like that. The initial rollout, the plan is to do it primarily digital or on small forms, things like that, that won't come at an initial, like a big expense. And then from there, it will be implemented throughout time. When an asset is due to be destructed, the new logo will then be on that. Same with branded clothing, things like that. Now, I also know that there are grants out there that you can get for rebranding and things like that, so that will definitely be looked at as well.
Yeah, if we can get a grant, follow up, if we can get a grant, and, we'd go as fast as that money will take us, right? So, thank you.
That's what I'm just thinking. Very good.
Tree
Very good.
on the white.
Yep.
Okay. I like this one. Okay, Elizabeth?
The more notes we have to send to the graphic designer is going to be better for them.
Sure.
So we're set on sending 2, or do we want to send 1 and we can see multiple versions of that? Or are we set on 2? Because it
One would
would,
be cheaper, right?
one would be cheaper, and that was the initial idea in the report, was to go with deciding on 1 and then them taking it, giving us options of what we can get out of it. And then in July, we see what we like. If we want to go back again, we go back again for 1 more revision in August.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll go with 1,
Yes.
and I'll take those notes from you afterwards. Sylvia's drawing, Barry's drawing.
Some of you may not want to. Okay. Thanks, Elizabeth. I know this has been a bit of a hassle, but we'll get there.
Thank you.
Council, why don't we take 5?
Your worship.
Oh, sorry, Madam Clerk. What can we do for you?
Thank you. If we could just vote on the resolution, that would be
Oh, that would be
lovely.
appropriate.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Council, of resolution, it reads that CS 2026-047 dated June 24, 2026, regarding township logo redevelopment, shortlisted logo review and selection be received, and that council select shortlisted logo number 1 to be sent to a graphic designer for suggested changes and options in that regard, and come back to council for further review. Okay. Councillor Talbot and Councillor Bumstead, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you.
Okay, what happened?
Madam Clerk, are we finished? We can do a 5-minute?
Absolutely.
Okay. You don't have to do anything with, okay, 5 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. We've finished item 7.1. That brings us to 7.2, and it's a report from the treasurer. Read the treasurer's statement of development charge and parkland dedication reserve funds. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this at this point? Not seeing any. Recommendation is, or motion that item CS 2026-053 dated June 24, 2026, regarding the 2025 Treasurer's Statement of Development Charge and Parkland Reserve Funds be received. Mover and seconder, Councillor Talbot and Councillor Raymond. All in favor? That's carried. Turn that over. Okay, delegation follow-ups. Mr. Robinson and Mr. Strahan, Reed Tay Trail snowmobile use. I think, Madam CAO, we're probably looking at the fall to get that report back. I think from staff. You had mentioned July, but I think we might need a little bit more time.
Okay.
Council agree? Okay, Mr. Podolak. Andrea, with this, I think we'll have to get some input from Sean as to what those costs would be. Like he talked about gravel or something, but I'm not sure how far he's talking on gravel. I would think it's just to cover the culvert, but go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I can advise that operational services staff have had some preliminary conversations with him just to get a better understanding of what this in-kind request was related to. So certainly we can follow up with council and let you know what that request looks like and any associated costs with it as well.
Okay. Council okay with that? I think I'm surprised to hear Midland and Penetanguishene are contributing as well, so that's interesting. Go ahead, Councillor LaChapelle.
Yeah, I was going to add to the time frame. It seemed like that he was interested now because of production. So is there ability to kind of find out soon? We don't meet in July. That's all. Other than end of July, after this.
I think it's probably something, if council agrees, that once Andre hears back from Sean, you could is everybody okay with an email?
Sure.
And
that's good.
Does that sound okay, Andrea? Or does that cause you concerns?
We will follow up with council based on the information that I receive, and then we'll figure out, the best approach moving forward, if
Perfect.
that works.
So good, council? Okay. And then Tony, read the bus service. I guess the issue I have here is there's a whole bunch of different scenarios that would come into play, and depending on those, there's a cost, and transit is never a moneymaker. So I think we could wait. It's not a panic thing until he has his opportunity to talk to the county, and then when we meet again, perhaps we could talk about what type of framework we might be looking at. Councillor Raymond?
Yeah, thank you through the chair. Yeah, it's a good idea, Your Worship. I was wondering, because I remember that when Lynx started with the new line, there was a lot of statistical data made available to us relative to the different stops. They even had some predictions or what they thought they were going to get in ridership. Is that information that we can share with Tony to help him along his way, or is it the county?
No, I'm sure we could. Yeah. We could even put a bug in his ear that he can provide that to Tony. Madam CAO mentioned, and we did receive a presentation on some of the things they're looking at. Although in the presentation that we saw, Port Nickel was still not there yet. but there was some indication that they were looking at another scenario where port might be included. So they're still looking, but again, there are some municipalities that have no stops at all. So that's what we're up against on the county floor. So, Councillor Lachapelle?
Yeah, just through the chair, to me, I just find this whole thing, it'd be hard to implement. You talked about stops at Victoria Harbor and then maybe into Midland. Well, why would you come into Victoria Harbor unless you're going to Orillia to the hospital type? I mean, I'm curious how this would ever be implemented low cost, because when I'm thinking of the fees to do this stuff, I mean, and you touched on, I remember going to the last feasibility down the county, you know, their former spellers are complaining about they got nothing. So I just don't know, that's why I asked about the grant component. I just don't see it spending 10 and 15 grand without county support.
Yeah, and I think those are some of the things that we have to consider. In my mind, I'm agree that the service should simply be from Port to Midland.
Yes.
They go to the Georgian College, and then they go to
Wherever.
a mall, one of the shopping centers or something. Because that's what and I guess it'd be doctor's appointments, but they can catch the Midland buses from there to go to the other places. So I don't think we'd be looking at Wabashine or Victoria Harbor for them.
Oh, no. Jeez, no.
But again, that's some of the things that we have to
Okay.
decide on so we can provide it to him, and then we can get him more, because there's no cost, it's all indicated, so.
Okay.
Sound good? You okay with that, Madam CAO? Okay. Okay, we have correspondence. We have 2 items of correspondence. The first, Township of Springwater, Elmwood Vale Groundwater Project. I'm going to open it for discussion. Personally, I have some concerns with getting into that based on some of the other issues that have happened down that way and groups and so on. But comments? Councillor Lachapelle.
Yeah, when I go back to the path through the chair, really not interested in getting into this concept of water issues again. We've been down that road, previously other people that were professional, and I don't want to, because I'm curious about the legal complications and all the other stuff and commitments and money and whatnot, so I just soon just stay away from it, Your Worship.
Yeah, and I think that they just circulated it to us for information, but yeah, I don't think we need to take any action on it. Deputy Mayor?
No, and I agree. When I saw this is the first I've heard in 4 years. This was all supposed, I mean, you know, Mr. Shotek and the other chap, they came to us, I'm gonna say it's gotta be 7 years ago. In fact, it could have even been longer when they initiated this whole thing. And since then, SSCA said they'd step in. Now, granted, we haven't had a meeting of such since whenever it was. But this is all news to me. And I mean, if they were turned down by the federal government, obviously something's lacking within that, so. I say we just receive it as information at this point.
I agree. Everyone okay with that? Okay, Madam Clerk? The next is item 9.2, correspondence from Linda Loftus, suggestion on Port Monaco housing enabling infrastructure opportunity. Again, this is something I think we just received for information. Any other comments or questions? I think it's all something that we've agreed when the time is right that we could look at with respect to some of our lands and whether or not servicing them is practical and economically feasible. But at this point, to my mind, if she was really interested, then she would initiate it. Yeah. Yeah. Deputy Mayor, please.
Yeah, other than a quick comment, and that is, I don't understand where she's coming through, because we did the zoning application for those 56 lots. At no time was there any discussion about lengthening the services there, or actually creating. Yet now she's coming back and throwing it in our face, saying, we gotta do this now. I know we're not gonna be able to do it in a project, maybe possibly down the road, but I do know in conversation with the county staff, because we, the county, are looking at reducing their DC charges, that may apply to this individual, so. But other than that, that would be the extent of it.
Receive for information?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Madam Clerk, good? We have no notices of motion. We have, oh, I was going to say we have no council announcements, but council announcements. Councilor Raymond, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I actually wrote them down this time.
All right.
Started off a couple of weeks ago, Your Worship and I, we did a check presentation at GBGH, and I so look forward to participating in that, because it just gives you a complete sense of community, you know, representing our community. You know, the hospital is so key for all the residents in Tate Township. And then Friday we had flag raising, National Indigenous Peoples Day. Another thing that I take a lot of pride in getting involved with. And last but not least, probably the single largest thing I enjoy is the grade 8 graduation at I did St. Antoine Danielle. It was held at the Oakwood Community Center because they have too many students.
Wow.
So that's indicative of a lot of different things, you know, for us.
Yeah.
But, you know, to sit there for the hour, an hour and a half that it takes for the graduation ceremony is just, the excitement in the air is just so spectacular. And these are grade 8s.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully they retain that excitement as they go through.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
and then the host of other things that we do as council members. But those are the three that really stood out I wanted to acknowledge. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Attended lots of meetings, events that I'm sure I'll let you turn around and rhyme off. The only one I've got is, this is Canada Day weekend. Friday night, the bands are starting. Saturday, the parade, so should be a fun weekend. That's all I have.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Talbot.
Thank you, Mayor Walker. Just wanted to let council know, speaking with Terry Black, following the death of her husband, Rick was very instrumental in starting our cemetery that we have in Port. And so I was walking one day and, oh my God, like it was so, just so beautiful. You know, the grounds were cut, everything was outstanding. So speaking with Terry, I had mentioned that. So I said to her, so she, with her permission, said that I could inform council that her son Ricker, her daughter Jen, and Troy will continue on to care for the cemetery in their father's name. So,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, you never know what you know, as time passes, if it
Yeah.
becomes troublesome or whatever. But I think that's a really nice legacy that
For sure.
the children and you know, with Rick being so, you know, community orientated. So anyway, just thought I'd let you know.
That's great. That's great news.
Thank you.
Councillor Bumstead, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, I have to echo Councillor Raymond's. I attended the Tay Shores graduation last night, and I think there was 80-some grade 8s graduating. But yeah, it's really exciting, and I quite enjoyed it, so.
Great. Great. I'm glad you guys were able to get out. Okay. Deputy Mayor's left the list to me. As was mentioned earlier, we attended the anniversary gala in Vaughan. It was very nice. And we were sitting at a table, there was a young couple at the table, and we were all talking. And this is in Vaughan, mind you. And we said, where are you guys from? I said, oh, we're from Victoria Harbor. Just a young couple that lives in Victoria Harbor that came down to Vaughan to see attend the gala. So it was pretty interesting. Just wanted to congratulate everybody that submitted our coloring contest for Meet the Fleet Day. Super job by all. We did have them out in the lobby for a while so everybody could see them. I was also pleased to accept from MPB Dunlop the Provincial Age Friendly Award that was mentioned here tonight. Awarded to the township, recognizing the township's efforts to make Tay an age-friendly community. So that was recognition from the province. I attended the Y Marsh Volunteer Appreciation Luncheons and presentations. That was very nice. It's funny when I go to some of these things, and a lot are in Midland, Rotary Club, et cetera, how many members on the executive are from Tate Township? Yeah, it's really quite surprising. Attended the Midland Sea Cadet Ceremonial Review in Midland. And we attended the annual powwow for the Georgian Bay Native Friendship Center. And I attended the shrine on Sunday for the blessing of the municipal gardens, and a shout out to our horticultural committee. Tays always brings rave reviews from the people there, and then we stayed and had lunch with Father O'Brien following. Canada Day, as Deputy Mayor spoke, I think the parade starts at 11, so if we could all be down by the what we refer to as the town dock, we can catch a ride in the fire truck. And I attended the celebration of life for former Councillor Rick Black with Councillor Talbot, Councillor LaChapelle, and Councillor Raymond. Very nice event. It was at Joe's house outside, and former Mayor Talbot gave a very touching eulogy, which was both humorous and sentimental. And I thought to myself, that is exactly what Rick would have wanted. So, to former Mayor Talbot, super job. And graduations. I just wanted to extend on behalf of staff and council, congratulations to all the graduates in Tay, whether they be kindergarten or grade 8, and those attending our high schools. And it's funny you talk about the excitement behind a grade 8 graduation, because years ago there really wasn't a lot to do with grade 8s. But one of the teachers told me one time that it's very important, because some of those kids, that's their only graduation, will be the grade 8 graduation. So how important it is for the kids. So thanks for council for attending those. And at this point, if there's no other announcements, we are going to retire to a closed session. And a resolution to that effect, that council retire to a closed session at 8:59 p.m. under authority of the Municipal Act, Section 239, Sub 2, Sub E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and it is with respect to a litigation update. Mover, Councillor Lerma, seconded by Deputy Mayor Norris. All in favor? That's carried. We'll just give Katie time to so we're coming back. Okay, thank you. Welcome back. We are finished our closed session. And during the closed session, we received a report from our CAO, re-litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and there was a litigation update. Bylaws, we don't have any bylaws tonight, except for our confirming bylaw. And with that in mind, I have a resolution that reads that bylaw 2026-25, being a bylaw to adopt the proceedings of the June 24, 2026 council meeting, be enacted as bylaw of the Township of Tay, and that's moved by Councillor LaChapelle and seconded by Deputy Mayor Norris. All in favor? That is carried. Adjournment. I have a motion that reads that this regular meeting of council adjourn at 9:06 p.m. That's moved by Councillor Larmont and Councillor Raymond. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, staff. Thank you, council. Take care, everybody.